Okay. Back again for a Sunday afternoon with the Blob. It's going to be interesting. Hey, Matt. Thanks for making it, man. Gonna be knocking out this guy to round out the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. I think we've got everybody in here now in that group. Got Magneto, got Mystique, Pyro. Oh, we still got Toad tomorrow. So yeah, that'll round it out. I keep forgetting about him. As most people do. It's interesting to see how this is going to work out with the new X-Men movie coming up, because I just saw the release footage of the new Cyclops, that the new Cyclops visor everybody's been talking about, and I found that fascinating. It's got a late 70s, early 80s feel where it went black, and it looks really cool, but I don't know. I've been checking into a lot of that stuff coming out as of late. With these particular cards coming up, I've taken a higher interest in it, and we'll see what happens with it. But I've been hearing a lot of rumors that we're going to see a lot more of the classic Marvel villains for the X-Men in it, and I'm excited to see where they go with that. But we'll find out. But yeah, my first experience with this thing, like I said yesterday with the Pyro card, the funny thing about it is it was a Daredevil book where I found the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants first, and I first encountered them. And I mean, I'd read a lot of the old X-Men books, but the cool thing was I had never come across these characters and never noticed them until the John Romita Jr. run on Daredevil, which opened me up to that, and they crossed paths with him. And it was Spiral that was with them, not Magneto or Mystique. It was actually Spiral that was with them and running the crew at the time. I don't know if you guys ever read that one or not, but it was a really good story. They were in this odd town out in the sticks somewhere, and they were confronting each other. It was an intense story. There was a baby involved that Daredevil was trying to protect, which I had no idea about where that baby belonged in continuity to any character. It was just a baby he was trying to protect, and it just happened to be a story about the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants trying to get this kid. So it was an interesting read to me. I was very young at the time. I was about 10 or 11 when that book came out. And it gave me a good read on the Daredevil as well for, Matt Murdock's character, because this is right before Frank Miller took it over and really revamped everything with tearing the character down, as we know, into the Guardian Devil type of character that he is now. He had a different style and confidence back then. So, he doesn't have that now. The Matt Murdock that we know in the comic books now is not the same guy that, not the same character that was portrayed in those older books. He's been modernized and kind of broken down and feeble at some points, and, you know, it's odd. But this guy's just a nut. He goes running all over the place trying to use brute force. Which is funny because his mutation is awkward. You know, I mean, it gives him a lot of power and stuff, but he's not in the right... Of course, he's a villain and a criminal, so it's not right off the bat anyway, but his mental state is not of... definitely not of a high level of someone you'd want to socialize with. I did this headshot, and offline someone tried to tell me he looked a little bit like the Hulk, which I thought that was cool too, because he's got the little nose and whatnot. But no, he goes the other direction physique-wise, so no, it's not the Hulk. Hey Jim, hey Brian, glad you guys made it, man. I appreciate you coming on and hanging out. Fun times. We got to get together and do a mashup, man. We got to get together and do a jam. That would be great. Show people how to draw comics and stuff, you know, and say, hey, you know, this is how you do it. That would be cool. Jim and I were talking about that a while back, about working together on a jam session or a jam piece, and I was giving him grief about it. It was funny. So he asked me what I had in mind, because I brought up the idea, and I told him, I said, you know, you do all the penciling and I'll hang it up on my wall. So had fun with it. It's all good. And by the way, no plugging, no pitching or whatnot. You know, I'm not going to do that here. Got a How to Draw Comics series coming up here fairly quick. I start it tomorrow for YouTube. It'll be short and sweet. And I'm going to be covering a couple of different basic things for you guys. If you're interested, awesome. If not, that's fine too. I'm doing it mainly for the experience of doing it myself. You know, I want to have it to where I have that stuff out there, and it's also forcing my hand on setting up my webcomic. So I will definitely be doing that very soon. If you guys dig it, cool. If not, that's fine too. But it'll be there nonetheless. And if you want to join in and ask me questions and stuff, I welcome them happily. Because I get asked all the time, you know, you keep doing this comic thing, but we don't see any of the work you put out. Well, that's because it's been delayed, a lot of it. Due to other projects going on, and my schedule got moved because I revamped everything on my business front. So that's where it's at right now, and why it hasn't, you know, you haven't seen books coming out regularly and all that. They start in August, so I'm very happy with that. And this web comic I've got coming out is going to be the first one, and it's free, so check it out. If you like the comics. Chicken Z. So, sorry it's the weekend. I'm cutting up quite a bit. Having a blast. For those that know me personally, they know I cut up a lot So it is what it is. And yeah. Let's see here. We've got a big old knuckle for this dude's hammy hands. And he's got massive, massive blocky hands. And this character is very easy and fun to draw in that regard. Because of the fact that he's got such blocky hands, it makes it very easy. With my style, I get to do the fun, big, blocky, stubby fingers, so I'm all about that. It's funny how easily that comes to me. It's like, really, man? You're making fun of my fingers. So, yep, there it is. And he always looks like, no matter how you draw him, he always looks like he has 2 knuckles instead of 3. And because this section right here is straight, you don't see the other bend behind it. But, you know, because it's folded back straight at you from here to here. But, yeah, there's supposed to be another knuckle in there. But the way this dude holds his hands, you can't ever tell. And it doesn't matter if I'm drawing it. Todd McFarlane could be drawing it. John Romita could be drawing it. It doesn't really matter. He's going to look like he's got stubby fingers and he's missing a digit every single time. It's just because of the way they lay. If you put them in a dynamic pose, they are going to look like they're squashed. It's not like the Hulk hands where they're prominent. The extra flesh and stuff kind of just absorbs it. It's strange. I've tried to draw that 3 different ways, and every time I put in that other knuckle, it makes his finger look like it's broken and off to the side. So I had to straighten it out. So I just found that one really aggravating. But it is what it is. So. Actually, I have the old Shield and Howling Commandos list in the card list, so I'll get those out for you, Matt. I do have him in the list, Nick Fury and the Howling Commandos, so you'll be able to see those fairly soon. They are on the list. Thanks for the suggestion, though, man. I appreciate it. Even though that I already have them on there. Yeah, absolutely. A lot of people have been asking me if I'm going to sell these cards and if I'm going to do, what I'm going to do with them and whatnot. And the list keeps growing. But you guys are going to find out about that soon. I got picked on about that earlier. It's like, why, man? Sell them. And I won't reveal who did it. I got asked a really nice price for the Juggernaut piece that I just finished up. So, the money's definitely there. The opportunity's there, but I'm not pressing that matter on you guys at all. Because that's not what I do this for. But I found that highly amusing. It's like, wow, there's something to this comic book thing. Somebody actually likes my work. That's cool. I told you they weren't paid viewers, man. But, I digress. But yeah, I'll get those out for you. Now, I'm going through this back here. Through his what would be his lats, and I wanted to make him a lot bigger and do an overhead shot like he was jumping or something, but with this curve back here, I didn't want everybody to think, that's his butt. No, it would actually be his waist at that angle, but still, I don't want to go off that way, so I'm leaving the back ridge and the shoulder ridge there, and we're going to leave him down over this way and go from there. I am putting him in the classic unitard though. So, yeah, that's going to be awesome. Putting him right there. Boom. Going to put that thick line in there for the edge of that suit. Right there on his other shoulder. Because he doesn't have the conformities that most do. Even though he's human, he doesn't have the anatomical conformities that a lot of characters do. It's a lot more lenient. And you can be a little more creative with it because you don't have to have that sculptured look. So he has a lot more room and opportunity to define him in different ways. But you don't want to go crazy with it and make him look like, a Jello mold or something weird like that. Because that's not cool. That deviates from the project. So, putting in this collarbone here, which he does show the collarbone. He does show part, at least in part, the pectoral definition. And this is all his chin down here and his neck. And this is going to be the bare line right here. So I'm going to put a seam on this so we can tell where it's at. Because this is going to be the black suit. So he's not going to have the black and the yellow showing right here. So we're going to put on this seam right here so he looks like he's in his wrestling unitard. Because that's what he wanted to be. They wrote him... Back in the 90s, they wrote him to have a bio to where he said that he didn't want to be evil. He wanted to be a professional wrestler. And with his mutation, they wanted him to be an awkward sumo wrestler type of character. And they gave him a little bit of backstory on that. You know, he had a breakdown of how he didn't want to be an evil mutant anymore and all this mess, and it was, they were trying to humanize him a little bit more and develop the character, and I think they went the wrong way with it, personally. I think they should have left it alone and left him just as he is, but, whatever. They did some interesting incarnation of him for the Wolverine movie, The Origin, and that was a funny take. It was a lot better than I thought it was going to be as far as that take went. It could have been way worse. He could have fallen to the wayside the way that Wade Wilson did as Deadpool in that one. Which, thank goodness, they stuck in and did the original, the full-blown original remake of Deadpool as we know him. Let's see here. Where are we at? Gonna do the underside of this shoulder blade here. Actually, collarbone. Excuse me. I was gonna shade the shoulder blade in the back. That's why. Whoops. Which we will still do. I just wanted to pop that out to give it some definition and round it out. And got sidetracked here because I caught this gap in the chest that I wanted to shade in. Now, with this suit, I'm going to leave it open. I'm not going to shade all this in today because what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to shade this in gray to give it a little bit better dynamic. Okay. Now with this one, the way his head's angled, I'm going to put the shadow of his eyebrow on top, which I never do. And the reason I'm doing that is because of the way that the light's hitting him for us. I want it to show off that side, because we wouldn't be able to see that side of it. So the shadow would be to us. Now, in contradiction and contrast, we have the lip shadow right here under the nose that would still be that way. Because the light coming down, his nose is tipped down, so his eyebrows are tipped up. So we have that dark side and that dark side, and the light's hitting like right in the middle. Just right across that seam. That's the reason I'm doing that. I get a lot of people to ask me about that all the time. It's like, you know, you have the strangest contrast. Well, yeah, I do. Because I think about where the light source is coming from multiple points. 'Tis an advanced lighting technique. Knock, 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 knock. So, I'm going to take down this neck here. And because of the way that goes, I'm going to put that shadow right under here. And like I said, I'm not going to blacken out all that suit because I want to leave it open for a gray. A little bit right under here. A little bit right there. Put just a coupling right here. A little down there. Just kind of making it pop out a little bit so we can see, you know, the flesh changes and whatnot. And have the separation of the chest there. Like that. What do you guys think about the Phoenix Saga coming out? Have you heard anything about it? Me personally, I've heard a lot of mixed reviews on the set stuff right now, but nobody really knows what's going on. Except the people in the enclosure, of course. The hamster's on the wheel. Let's see here. Yeah, he doesn't look like the Hulk anymore. I'm happy with that. I'm pleased. But, yeah. I think this is going to work. However, depends if I mess it up on the next one. Here we go. We're going to draw in the baby Huey teeth. They are trademarked to the Blob. He has these very obscure, little, tiny teeth. Big old dude, little teeth. If you ever draw him, always make sure to apply that, because if you don't, it will look funky. He will not look like the Blob. I don't know why that is. I have no idea why they designed him that way. But he has baby teeth. And if you don't draw him like that, he looks strange. It doesn't look like him. He's also got this blocked nose. It's not as short as you would draw like the Thing or the Hulk, but he's got little bitty ears, little bitty teeth, and he's got this funky, squatty, blocked nose. And if you get that and the comb over, you're good to go with this character. He will turn out like this every time. You just got to pay the respect, to the character for what it is, I suppose. I know my big fingers are in the way. I just want to outline this a little bit. I know I said I wasn't blocking it all out and blacking it all in and all that mess, but I'm going to put in a little detail here because I want that to look like the rest of the suit and separate from the flesh. Now, right down here, I'm going to black out this corner because I want to separate a little bit of that, but I want it to be, I want to put in that little tendon right there off the underside of his wrist so that it looks like his arm. So okay, cool deal. Now I'm going to define this a little bit to make it look like a shoulder. There we go. Deltoid. Da-da-da. And now we got this side, which this arm, I keep spinning the card around here, I'll stop that. But the way he's looking right now, this is going to be an upper shoulder shot. So we're going to see this go down here into the chest. And just so we can see anatomically, it goes something, this is my sketch page here. You got a torso like that. And it's that little connection right here, boom, into the arm. That little fold right there, that little wing as I call it, that goes across the shoulder and into the arm this way. So you go boom, there's the chest, and that's what makes it look defined, because it goes up and over, kind of a funky S swivel right there, and that's what that is right there, which will go down into his chest, which is right down here. So it folds back down that way. Now put in the top of the front right there. And I'll put in a little bit of a sign for the back, but I'm not going to draw in that ridge in the middle because I don't want to mess that up and over define it and make him look all, you know, buff, which he isn't. Okay. Right off the corner. Wow. Okay. Now, we have the Blob. I hope you guys dig it. That's where we're at right now. I'm going to leave it right there. As it were. I over-detailed him a little bit more than I wanted to, but I want to get you guys to see what you came to see. Tomorrow we have the Blob. Let's see, we get the Blob's friend, which is Toad, and then we have Sabretooth, and then we have Sauron for Tuesday. I'm sorry, Wednesday. We have Sauron coming up after Toad and Sabretooth. So this week's going to be pretty racked up with some nice characters. I've been sticking on this because I wanted to do these classic mutants out of the way before I got into some of the more modern characters and some other offshoots, as well as some classic DC characters coming up, and just taking it a different direction, shaking things up a little bit, you know. So I hope you dig it. That's where we're at, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks.